Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with the Spain News Update, and the government has finally set a maximum price for the sale of antigen tests here in Spain, but more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a donation or by buying me a beer or a coffee. Many thanks for that. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying merchandise. And a big thanks, as always, to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now, let's get into the news. And as I said, the government has finally set, I'll say it again, finally set a maximum price for the sale of antigen tests here in Spain. And the price is, wait for it, drum roll please, €2.94 is the price that has been set. The Minister of Health, Catalina Darius, announced this Thursday that the government and the autonomous communities have unanimously decided to set the maximum price of antigen tests at €2.94, a measure that will come into force on Saturday after its publication in the official state gazette. In addition, the Health Commission has agreed to open the third dose of the coronavirus vaccine for people under the age of 40 and to reduce the interval for receiving a booster dose from 6 to 5 months. Darius appeared at a press conference at the ministry after the emergency meeting of the Interministerial Commission on Drug Prices, chaired by the Health Department with the participation of the Ministries of Finance and Industry and representatives of the various autonomous regions who have taken the decision regarding the prices of antigen tests by consensus. A decision taken, always taking into account the balance necessary for the product to be available in the pharmaceutical channel. So there we go, the maximum price set for that product at pharmacies, €2.94, not €2.90, not €3, €2.94. And various ministries, for example the Finance Ministry and the Industry Ministry, had to get together with another commission to work out that price. Another example of just how bureaucratic this country is. Now, as we also saw in that article, booster doses of a COVID-19 vaccine have also been approved for everybody over the age of 18. As we can see here, the Health Ministry extends the booster dose to everyone over 18 and will give a fourth dose to the immunocompromised. The Ministry of Health and the autonomous communities have endorsed the extension of the administration of booster doses of the COVID-19 vaccine to people aged 18 to 40, starting with the oldest and prioritising the most vulnerable and those who were vaccinated the longest to go. This was announced this Thursday by the Minister of Health, Catalina Darius, after the meeting of the Public Health Commission. The Minister also announced that the period between the administration of the second and third doses will be reduced to 5 months, instead of the 6 months in force until now. This decision was taken at the proposal of the Vaccines Committee and, according to the Minister, responds to current evidence. It is in line with what other countries around us are doing, she added. So if you are between the ages of 18 and 40 here in Spain, you can now get a booster shot. Now, we saw at the beginning of the week how the government here in Spain has a plan to fluify the coronavirus pandemic, classify it rather as an endemic situation, but various health bodies around the world, for example the WHO and the European Medicines Agency, don't think that that is a good idea. And Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez spoke yesterday and said that the change from pandemic to endemic will not happen overnight. The president of the government, Pedro Sánchez, appeared after his speech at the closing of the 12th edition of the Spain Investors' Day, alluding to the process by which the government wants to anticipate future situations such as the transition from pandemic to endemic, which will not happen overnight, and thanking health professionals for their efforts with vaccination, thanks to which the current situation is not the same as in other waves of the pandemic. Pedro Sánchez has assured that the infection rates of this sixth wave of the coronavirus pandemic already point towards a progressive stabilization of infections and has advocated designing the transition of COVID-19 from pandemic to endemic, which in no case will be imminent. So going from the current pandemic situation to an endemic situation is not going to happen overnight, according to the Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez. Now let's have a look at a summary of the health situation in Spain, and we can see the accumulated incidence rate for the last 14 days, sitting at 3,156. Hospital pressure remains high at 13.9%, and there are 17,269 COVID patients hospitalised around the country, and ICU pressure remains high at 23.6%, and there are 2,227 COVID patients in ICU currently. Now, Spain's tourism industry is still struggling to recover, and 2021 was another bad year. And as we can see here, coronavirus plunges tourism GDP in 2021, down 42.8% and back to 2003 levels. Tourism GDP in 2021 totaled 88.5 billion euros, still 42.8% below pre-pandemic values and at levels similar to those of 2003. This decline was due to the standstill in travel until last May and the sudden halt since mid-November due to the spread of the sixth wave of the coronavirus. With these data, the share of tourism in national GDP rose to 7.4% compared to 5.5% in 2020, but is still far from the 12.4% of 2019, a record year for the sector in Spain. This is reflected in the report presented on Thursday by the Executive Vice President of Exceltur, José Luis Zoreda, and the Director of Studies and Research, Oscar Perele, who said that in the first quarter of 2022, sales will fall by 33.2% compared to the same period in 2019, all due to the sixth wave of the coronavirus. So the virus still castigating the tourism sector here in Spain, and as we saw in the article, currently at levels similar to 19 years ago. Now, the government yesterday proposed new changes to the autónomo system or self-employed system here in Spain, and it proposed new progressive self-employed quotas ranging from 184 to 1,267 euros. The Ministry of Social Security has presented a new proposal for the contribution system for the self-employed that proposes a flexible system of 13 brackets ranging from less than 600 euros per month to more than 4,050 euros per month, and the possibility of changing up to 6 times a year. The model establishes a minimum contribution of around 184 euros a month for self-employed workers with an income of less than 600 euros and a maximum of 1,267 euros per month for those with an income of more than 4,050 euros. The proposal maintains the flat rate and focuses on people with incomes below the minimum wage to support them in starting up their activity. Contributions are progressive in relation to the income of the self-employed. The government proposes 9 years of transition to adapt to the system, although the situation would be evaluated every 3 years. So a new progressive self-employed quota system that ranges from 184 euros to over 1,200 euros depending on how much you earn. But basically, no matter which way you look at it, self-employed people are going to have to pay around 30% of their income to Social Security, which, unlike the current system, where the minimum is around 300 euros, regardless of how much you earn. So for example, if you earn 1,000 euros, it's around 30%, but if you earn 3,000 euros, it's only 10%. So a big difference in my opinion. Now, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, Spain's meat industry has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, mainly due to the words of the Consumer Affairs Minister, Mr. Garzón, and his criticism of the sector. He called into question the practices of these so-called mega farms. But what are some of the reasons this type of farm exists here in Spain? Well, according to this article, China and African plague explain the rise of pig farms in Spain. A highly contagious African plague changed the world's pig map in 2018. China, the world's largest producer and consumer of pork, had to slaughter a high percentage of its livestock to contain the plague in its country, a drastic solution that left it no choice but to buy from abroad to compensate for the drop in production. In this new pig atlas, Spain became China's main supplier of pork. The meat of poorer quality from mistreated animals, to which Minister Alberto Garzón referred in his controversial interview in The Guardian, is now mainly destined for the Asian giant. Since 2019, our country has been the largest exporter of pork to China, surpassing even Germany with 19% of the market share. So there we go, a fairly easy answer as to why this type of farm exists: China. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Mark: why aren't the tests free? Do they really care about public health? Don't think so. They care about money. Same here in the US. Yeah, Mark, thanks for the comment and adding to the debate about the price of antigen tests here in Spain, which, as we know, have been overpriced for some time, mainly because they're only available from one place, pharmacies. And why aren't the tests free, like they are, for example, in the United Kingdom? I've got no idea. And does the government care about public health? I'd like to think so, but maybe it's not the case. And is it all about the money, money, money? Most likely. One here from Janet: according to what I heard and read in the news, Omicron is a mild form. I do believe this will all die down pretty soon. Thanks for your update, Stuart. Yeah, Janet, thanks for the comment, and that does seem to be the general consensus held by health experts, that the Omicron variant is a mild variant of COVID-19. However, it does spread incredibly fast, makes people sick, and causes them to take time off work, and that's one of the main issues we have at the moment. And as far as future variants of COVID-19 are concerned, I'm not even going to mention what the WHO said yesterday. One here from Harry: loved your humour about hooker and hooker. I have no idea which was which from the video, so I guess I'll have to come to Spain to find out. Yeah, Harry, thanks for the comment, and glad you found my comments about hooker and hooker humorous. And of course, with the way I pronounce English, there's not much difference between those two words, unlike, for example, in North American English, where there would be. So in order to avoid confusion between these two words in the future, I'll use the Spanish word for hooker, cachimba. One here from Wickler Walker: can you buy paracetamol in Spanish supermarkets? Yeah, Wickler, thanks for the comment, and the simple answer to that question is no, you cannot buy paracetamol in supermarkets. You can only get it from pharmacies, official pharmacies, that is. And it's another example of an unprescribed product that is only available in pharmacies here in Spain. One here from Chrissy: our village had 19 cases last week, today 38 cases, and one bar closed because that's where most came from. Yet we wear masks everywhere and vaccinated. Why? Yeah, Chrissy, thanks for the comment, and I saw that a few anti-vaxxers and skeptics had replied to this comment, giving us their opinion on what the reason is. But basically, from what I have read and what the scientific community tells us, is that the Omicron variant of COVID-19 is the fastest spreading virus in history, even more infectious than the measles. So that is the most plausible reason why cases are up in your village. And another reason I'd say is that when people go to bars here in Spain, especially bars in villages, they don't tend to wear a mask. One here from Joe: don't agree at all. Often go to Spain to motorcycle on some of the best roads anywhere. Scammed once in Madrid, but that could have happened anywhere. Not a fan of the Spanish government's handling of the pandemic, so may delay going back for a while, but return we will. Yeah, Joe, thanks for the comment, and obviously in reply to the video that I posted yesterday about a person that was not happy living here in Spain, and one of his big complaints was the roads. In fact, so bad were the roads in his area that he went back to the UK. And on the topic of roads, I would agree that a lot of the roads here are in fairly good nick, especially the motorway system, but when you get off the motorway system and start driving on some of the regional roads, they can get a bit dodgy. And when it comes to getting ripped off or scammed, you're right, that can happen anywhere. It's not unique to Spain. And finally, one here from Michael: having lived in Nerja, I can confirm crime is a problem. Burglary and robbery being the main problem. I was burgled twice in 4 years, mugged in between, and had my car stolen. Spain is an option for retirement, not for anyone else. Yeah, Michael, thanks for the comment, and again in regard to that video that I posted yesterday about a disillusioned expat, and another one of the things that he didn't like about Spain was the amount of crime here. And it seems, according to your comment and the amount of crime that you experienced down there in Nerja, that he might have been right. Fortunately, I haven't experienced any of the crime problems that you mentioned there, but I'll touch wood, and I didn't know that Nerja was such a crime-ridden place. And regarding the last part of your comment there about Spain being a fantastic place for retired people, but not for anyone else, I tend to agree. On that note, I'll wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.
It's the money.